Please welcome back to the Bryan Wilson Show. Please welcome my very good friend, Joshua Conrad.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on, Bryan.
No problem. Welcome to the show. I'm glad to have you.
Thanks. Looking forward to it.
My first question is, what inspired you to start singing?
Well, there are a few different things that I can point to. Um, I can point to music being something that was always present in the household that I grew up in. Both my parents really enjoyed music, and my sisters and I all took piano lessons. So that was always in the background, and I also did band in high school. But then I remember in ninth grade hearing the song by the Turtles, "Happy Together," and it's a great song, beautiful harmonies and everything. And I went, "Wow, I really want to do that." And so I just decided to pursue it from there, and met a few people over time who've helped me get out there a little bit more, hone my skills. And so, yeah, I found that that thing that I wanted to do, growing up, was something that I actually really did enjoy doing.
Do you write your own music?
I do, yeah. And I've been writing my own music for probably about 15 years now.
Wow.
I started when I was pretty young. Um, but I've always had a lot of fun, and I've always enjoyed, there's a lot of music out there, but I always enjoyed writing something that I wanted to hear that didn't already exist. That was always something that I got a lot out of.
Are you a country guy or like a pop guy, or what type of genre of music do you listen to?
So, well, I mentioned the Turtles and Happy Together, and that's really like my ideal type of sound. So it's kind of pop rock, but it's more like oldies. So I really like 60s music.
Oh, I love 60s music. I'm that type of person. Like I don't really care for the music today. I'm more like
Yeah,
the older music because I'm like
nice.
I like that music a lot better. So we're
Yeah,
kind of in the same boat.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What has been the coolest place you performed?
Well, actually, I'm wearing this Galoo shirt. I actually played in a festival just this last weekend. Played on Sunday and had a great time out there. There are, some other places that I've really enjoyed playing. I played at Razor Wire as well, but wanted to talk a little bit about the music festival that I was at because it was a great time. Um, and I was introduced to the people that work there. They're great people with HQ in Lincoln. And yeah, the setting was it was outside. It was still really nice, which it's not always a guarantee in October that it's going to be super nice. But yeah, and it was just out basically at somebody lived out on a farm, and they were able to rent some space nearby them for just the weekend. And so yeah, it was a beautiful weekend out in the country, and a bunch of acts went through, and I was fortunate enough to play there as well.
Did you get to meet a lot? Did you get to meet a lot of the bands?
Yeah, I was able to meet a lot of the people. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to stay as long as I wanted to. But a lot of the groups there were really cool people, and had a great time talking with them.
Well, that's cool. Did they give you like any advice or anything?
Um, they not a whole lot of advice necessarily. Um, One guy commented that he really liked the style of music that I was doing. And he felt like he couldn't quite pigeonhole it into one genre. He actually said show tunes for what it sort of sounded like, which I've actually gotten that comment before, and it always makes me scratch my head just a little bit. It might be my delivery or something. Um,
Do you want to write
but
show tunes?
uh, not necessarily. It's not really like the target thing that I'm going for, but if I enjoy what I'm doing and I like how it sounds, and people say, "Hey, that sounds like show tunes," I'm like, "Cool, I love show tunes." Then,
Are you planning on releasing an EP?
yes, and I'm overdue on that. So I wanted to release something at the end of last year, and here we are in October of this year. So that hasn't quite panned out as well as I wanted it to, but I was able to get a really good single recording with a song called Why Not? And that was something that I released here in June. And I really wanted to step up my game as far as recording quality. And so a good friend of mine, Alex Arola, who's great, he's a musician, a very good musician in his own right, with his own solo project, Standing By, and Sasha. And he introduced me to a guy who's producing music, Connor Moritz. And Connor had actually gone to school for music production. And so I was able to get a really professional sounding recording, and I was thrilled with it. And I'm working on recording another single with him right now. And I've got some other ones that I recorded on my own, and thinking of packaging that all up and releasing it here, um, maybe before the end of the year. That might be a real push, but we'll see.
Have you ever thought about writing a Christmas album?
I've not. That would be a lot of fun. And I've talked with other people about this. If you're able to make, like, that one, like, well, with Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas,
Mhm.
you know, that she wrote that song once, and every 12 months she can count on a paycheck,
Yep.
because that's the key. If you can make it with some sort of Christmas music, that's a gold mine you can just count on.
I know one of my another guest who's coming on the show sometime soon. He's writing a Christmas album, and he said the exact same thing, like the Mariah Carey thing. I said,
That's
yeah.
funny. Yeah. Yeah. No, he's absolutely right.
Mhm. Have you ever thought about auditioning for The Voice or American Idol?
I haven't given it a whole lot of thought. Um, maybe that's something I should consider a little bit more, but I've just enjoyed what I've been doing so much. And that's kind of my whole philosophy. I really enjoy going out there, playing music, putting on a good show. And if people like it, great. If not, I'm having a great time.
How often do you perform?
Not as often as I wish I did. Um, there is an open mic that I do go to on a weekly basis, just to continue honing my skills, continue practicing in front of people. But I haven't done a whole lot of gigging in front of people. Um, I've My average recently has probably been in the neighborhood of once or twice a month. So, enough that I'm certainly getting out there and getting used to different venues and things, but not not quite as much as I might want. I could see, like, an every other week thing that might be a nice little step up. Get used to some venues and get used to it being more part of a regular routine.
What do you want to get out of on the whole music career, like singing and writing? Like, what's your big goal?
My big goal is to basically see where it takes me. Um, I've got a full-time job, and I'm happy with it. It's been good for me, but I've enjoyed doing music for a long time and been very interested in it. And basically, I've decided, I've spent all this time thinking, oh, wouldn't that be cool?
Mhm.
And so my big goal is to just take it and run with it and just see how far it takes me, because then I won't have to ask myself that question anymore.
Yep. Were you nervous when you first started singing compared to now?
In front of people? Yeah. Yeah.
Do you feel like you
I
came a
was
long
pretty
way?
nervous. What was that?
Do you feel like you came a long way since then?
Um, in terms of being comfortable, yes. Um, I think that I've come quite a ways. Actually, just earlier this year, I did something that I had some time off from work, and I was thinking, what do I really want to do? I planned out my vacation terribly, and sort of at the last minute, I decided, I just want to play at a lot of places. And so what I did was, I knew a few people in some different areas, so I went onto Facebook and just started looking up at where different open mics were.
Oh,
And
wow.
so I hit, yeah. And so I hit a couple in Omaha Then I went over to Iowa City, where my sisters are. Then over to Illinois for something kind of in the Quad Cities area, and then up in Dubuque where I've got another friend, and had a great time seeing those different venues, playing my stuff. And yeah, it was a super supportive audience for the most part. A lot of people were really receptive.
For someone who doesn't know what an open mic is, can you explain what that is?
Yeah. It can be anything, and it's kind of wild. It really depends on the venue, I think. Some open mics are much more serious, and you get people who are much more accomplished, musicians or poets who are going in for their time slot and doing their thing. One of the things that I have enjoyed about going to Razor Wire is it's a lot looser, and you see all kinds of things go up there, and some of it's very good. Some of the poetry music is very good, but other times it's people going, "Hey, I've got this idea, and I'm just going to, take it." Like people doing. I've seen most of the time the comedy that's been done has been, rehearsed or planned, and other times it's I'm just going to stand up here with the mic and talk for a while, and that'll be that. And
You
so,
ever,
yeah, go for
go
it.
ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so it's just it's really interesting what you'll see at an open mic, and that's part of the reason that it's great to go there. It's great. It's a great way to find out what people are open to listening to, and what people, yeah, really like.
Have you ever thought about like working with somebody who you've gone to an open mic with?
Um, I haven't given that a whole lot of thought at this point in time. Um, Yeah, I do certainly like the open mic scene, and I'm super supportive of the different ones that I've attended. Um, but yeah, haven't thought about doing a whole lot of like work in that field at this point.
So are you planning to release any new music soon?
Soon, that would be
Like in the next month or so?
in the next month or so.
Like
So
writing?
I am working on that other single that I was talking about with the guy who I recorded that first single with. And we're a good part of the way through recording. So um the I haven't quite decided on the name of it. I think it's going to be three words. And if you look up Joshua Conrad, you can find my first single, Why Not, on all streaming platforms. And yeah, so feel free to check it out. And everybody watching, yeah, feel free to check it out.
Where can people go to book you for gigs? Do you have like a website or?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't have a website. Um, you can reach out to me on Facebook, I suppose. I think the main way that I'd probably prefer it, if people watching have Instagram, that would be a great way to go because I've got my Facebook account sort of like my, just regular Joshua Conrad Facebook account. But my Instagram is joshuaconrad.music. And so it's more music oriented.
How is okay, I want to screw that I screwed that up.
That's okay.
I can't talk, sorry. Have you ever thought about singing or performing with your idol? Or who is your idol?
Oh boy. Um, I don't know if I've got any one person that I really look up to with music. Um, although, since you are a 60s guy, I did find it interesting, and I was thinking of telling one of my one of my friends, Alex, who's also a 60s music fan and does the open mic stuff as well, that I was going to have an interview with Bryan Wilson because that's also the name. I don't know if
I
you're
know where
familiar
you're
with the
going
Beach
with
Boys
this.
guy. Yeah, I'm sure you've heard that plenty of times at this point,
Always.
but yeah,
It's
yeah,
always funny when people like introduce me. I'm like, my name is Bryan Wilson. And I'm like, I'm
yeah,
not related to the Beach Boys. And I'm like,
yeah,
no.
yeah. But he did write some beautiful music, absolutely. So, um, I don't know if I'd necessarily like view him as an idol, but there's certainly he'd be a guy that I actually do draw some influences from. Um, I think that he wrote some beautiful songs. I guess this is also show tunes ish. Maybe I draw more from it than I think, but I think Rodgers and Hammerstein, they wrote some great music in the middle part of the 20th century as well. So yeah, yeah.
So during the pandemic, did you do a lot of virtual gigs?
I didn't do much at that point in time. So I guess during the pandemic, I really hadn't started like the whole gigging thing. In
Oh,
fact, yeah, I didn't actually start that till like almost exactly a year ago. So
oh
I'm
wow.
still pretty green. Yeah, I'd been writing music for quite a while, but as far as going out and performing in front of people I didn't know, I hadn't really done that. Um, but I did put together an album that I released, I think it was the 4th of July, 2020. And it's not on all my streaming platforms. It's certainly a little bit rougher because it was me who,
Gotcha.
I don't know all of the fancy recording techniques and things. And so it was me putting together an album of what I felt like were my best songs at that point in time. But yeah, if you look me up on Bandcamp, Joshua Conrad, like everything else, um, yeah, you can find it out there, and yeah, see what you think of it. The like I was saying, the quality's not super great, but a lot of my core ideas are there and songwriting style and all that.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah,
How do you expand? How do you have that? Oh my God, I can't speak. I'm sorry.
but that's 100% fine.
How do you plan to expand your fan base?
Slowly but surely. Um, I the main thing that I would really need to do is I would really need to get on gigging at just local places that have music on the weekends. I think that would be a really good way for me to start building up my local fan base. I suppose I've done a couple of Instagram reels, and they've met moderate success, nothing like super breakthrough or anything, but it's gotten a decent number of likes, the stuff that I put out there. So I could continue with something like that a little bit, but I think that just going to different gigs locally will help me build up my confidence, just being more comfortable in front of people while performing. Um, and if it also increases my fans, the number of fans that I have, then great.
What do you how do I say this? What do you if you do have a big fan base one day, what do you want your fan base name to be?
Oh boy, that's a really good question. I've got no idea. Do you have a good suggestion?
The Conrads?
That would work. They might get confused with my family because that's also what we
Oh
go by.
really?
We go by the Conrad. Well, I mean, yeah. Um, but yeah, I'll need to take that under consideration. Yeah,
Because I have a fan base that my friends call me. It's called
yeah.
the Brinados.
The Brinados. Nice. There was some good thought put in behind that one.
Mm-hmm. Because I love tornadoes and I destroy everything in my path. And so they're like,
Uh,
why don't you just be
that's
the
great.
Brinados? I'm like, that works.
Yeah, yeah.
So if your next album, what do you want the next album cover to be? Like the title.
Oh,
He's like, oh.
yeah. Well, but this one I think I've actually done a little bit of thought towards. So the type of music that I have it's not completely that way, but it's largely, pop rock, sunshine stuff. And um, I noticed that a couple of the songs were so there's, different tempos, and with a metronome, you can use a metronome to figure out how many beats there are in a minute. And I noticed that like two or three of the big songs of the stuff that I'm working on recording, are 154 beats per minute. And so I was thinking of just combining that and doing something like Sunshine at 154 beats per minute or something like that, and just combining it all together.
So I was watching your I was on your YouTube channel and I saw that you did a YouTube concert. How was that?
Yeah. Oh, that was a lot of fun. That was actually that was a gig I think that I had at the end of August, and that went super well. I had a great time. I've watched that video, a couple of times because I tried to translate it over to YouTube and wanted to get everything lined up between the audio and video. And I noticed that because everybody was facing one direction and the camera and the audio recording devices were sort of off to the side, it looks like my jokes went over terribly because you can't hear anybody laugh. You can see that I'm laughing and that's about it. And so it's like, oh, okay, well, that guy thinks he's funny, and that's it.
That's funny.
But I had a great time. Alex, who I brought up a couple of times now, Alex Arola and Derek Burris opened for me. They're the standing by band, and
Oh,
they
okay,
did,
okay.
yeah, and they did a great job. Their music was flawless. I made a few mistakes,
Hey,
but
that's part of show business, you know?
it is, and I think that together, just the three of us in tandem, really make a great pairing.
Are you guys like best friends or how did you
I
guys
would
meet?
say we are. I would say we are. Yeah.
How did you guys meet?
Um, well, I was familiar with Alex because he was a friend of and is a friend of one of my sisters, and yeah, they kept in touch a little bit after high school, and I went to one of Alex's shows and with his band Sasha, and I really liked what I was hearing. They were doing some of it was psychedelic music, some of it was punk music, and I thought it was a really interesting pairing. And both of those genres on their own, I liked pretty well. And so afterwards, I was taken off, and he ran on out to say hi because he had seen that I was there. And he said, "Yeah, thanks for making it to my show." And I said, "Yeah, I really liked what I heard. I play music too. If you want to get together and jam or something sometime, I think that'd be a lot of fun." And he said, "Well, I'm going to this open mic, and I think you should come." And I was like, "Okay. I mean, you haven't heard me play anything before, but okay, I'll give it a try. It's probably good for me to get out there and give performing in front of people a try." And so that's actually where I stumbled into that main open mic that I go to on Wednesday nights. And yeah, and Alex was almost always there with his friend Derek, and they were in a band. And so that's how we all sort of got to know each other. I mean, Alex and Derek knew each other pretty well, but that's how I sort of got in on that.
Do they invite you to play a lot of gigs with them?
No, not really at this point. They stay pretty busy, and there are enough other musicians in the area that they've tried some other pairings as well.
Gotcha.
But you can just about count on when the three of us are playing a gig at the same time, people are going to be having a good time.
That's awesome. Well, my final question is, what do you want people to take from your music? Like, or get from your music?
You know, I feel like with a lot of music out there right now, and it's been this way for a while, there are a lot of like negative influences, and there's a lot of angry music. And I want my music to be more positive and uplifting. And so, people can enjoy it. And once they've listened to it, they can be better off for it. And if I can bring people the same happiness through listening to my music that I get out of playing it, then that's just outstanding because I get so much just out of playing.
Well, thank you so much for being on my show.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. This was a lot of fun. Nice talking with you.
Nice talking with you. All right, I will talk to you later. Performing, it was really nice to be with you. Please welcome Joshua Conrad.
Parting after staying more than 9 nights. Evening wraps round as I walk from the lights. On my mind, just a dream, different time, similar theme, find it's true. It was really nice to be with you. Navy, shadows lacing trails in midnight. Sleep breeze, rushing building, letting still nights. On my mind, just a dream, different time, similar theme, find it's true. It was really nice to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Josh.